Welcome to Dice and Mind, a podcast hosted by Brad Brown and Jason Kaufman to explore the intersection of life, games, science, music, philosophy, and creativity through interviews with leading creatives. All are welcome in this space.
Unrelated to the subject of the podcast, which is actually fascinating, I think this might be the first time that I'm actually recording the podcast while laying down.
I'm 5 years in, and I think this is the first time.
Yeah, my back is killing me. I've been doing a lot of like outside work and things like that. And so every time I sit up, I'm like, I really need to like rest my back.
And
So
it's not just because you are, as you self-describe, old, but
no,
you and your brother this past week, you've done Herculean work indoors
we've
and
done a lot of work
outdoors.
on the house, but
Yeah,
let's
you
be
have.
perfectly honest. If the amount of work we've done, if I were 32 or 42, I think would have been very different versus 52.
Brad, there was
So,
never a time in your life where you were going to go out with a ripped t-shirt and do all kinds of work and then be like, ah, that felt good.
but now here's a visual. Let's not cue the public up on this. I want you just to see. This is what I was doing today. So I was driving a
Yeah.
tractor
Oh,
moving peat moss from the front to the back,
oh,
wearing this.
wearing the John Deere green and gold. You know, in Wisconsin,
Yes.
that's how you know you love someone.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because nobody runs like a deer.
that's right.
So
That's
I
right.
I was full on. I was full on.
You
Um,
were living another life.
I I'll be honest with you. I told my daughter, I said, if you were to drive out here and saw this guy on the tractor doing this type of stuff, you'd be like, "Where's my dad?" Because you would not have expected it. Because
That is
I lived in
funny.
the city for so long. But moving
Yep.
on, that's
Moving
why
on.
see now I had to lay back down because of my back. Um, so
I could just wait a second. Even though this won't come out for a week, I can almost feel a number of our listeners just pausing and shaking their heads.
and saying this might be the episode we skip. But I assure you, and I implore you not to, and
Yeah.
independent of this
All right.
initial topic, because our guest tonight is phenomenal.
Yeah, really
Um,
interesting and really diverse writing credits and game designs and also just a really cool background as a professional entirely outside of RPGs.
that really, and I know, we talk about RPGs, we talk about things outside of RPGs. Um, Dan, who's joining us tonight,
Yep.
we could have probably segued and spent a good amount of time just
Yeah.
talking about his experiences working in the work in his
Yeah.
other professional
Yeah.
side,
Hmm.
just because I found it fascinating. But
Yeah, it's a good
um,
thing that we are, and I actually mean this seriously. It's a good thing that we are learning to press record soon after we
yes,
welcome the guest online. Because
yes,
to your point, we could have easily gone down an enjoyable, interesting, professionally relevant to both of us rabbit hole, and then realize, oh, we should also record and talk about games.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. So talking today, we're going to talk about a bunch of games, but Monster of the Week, powered by the Apocalypse, always fascinating to me. It's one of those things that's been on the radar. It's not one of the games that's like, because of our limited time, when we do play, we would have time to play right now. But
yeah,
um, I've just been fascinated by it just because of its popularity,
hmm.
and the onus behind it. And Dan's going to talk about it.
Hmm.
And um, it's just some fascinating stuff. And just the connection
Hmm.
with, um, another um, contact with
With the
our
yellow
new
hand. I
friends
mean,
with the yellow hand.
so we've got Dan Labrecque coming up in just a moment here, but a big thank you again to our newfound friend of the podcast, Jay Sudelius, um,
Yeah.
uh, who has hooked us up with some of the people at the Yellow Hand, and this is a company, this is a concern that we've kind of known from afar, if you will. And so now to have made the acquaintance of really a bunch of their key people. It's just a really, really, really nice thing. It reminds me, maybe that's the wrong word, but it reminds me of why, no, it continues to fuel my gratitude that you and I get to do this because of
Yes.
the friends of the podcast we've developed across, now we can honestly say, numerous game companies around the
And
world. It's fascinating. I mean, it's humbling.
and that's what humbling is really the is a really good word for this because I mean these are people who are putting out great content and great material and we're just two dudes who are in effect consumers who are
Mhm.
running a podcast and these people are gracious enough to spend their time with us.
Yeah.
Um
Well,
and they don't have to,
and
you
they
know.
definitely don't have to, because we're really not paying them much.
No,
No,
no. I mean, we're not paying ourselves much either.
no,
So
that's true. This is definitely yeah, a money losing proposition. But my God, is it worth it?
oh, yeah, and we've gone back to this. We talked about
Yeah.
this at the 5 year too and everything. I mean,
Hmm.
the money isn't there's not a fiscal benefit really to it,
But in every other way.
the but when you look at the opportunity cost of doing other things and the non-monetary benefits that we've gotten out
Yeah.
um
Oh
of
yeah.
this, it's
Though,
so worth it.
over these past years, we've been sent a number of RPG books, a number of source books,
Oh,
and
yes,
even
our
a
friends at
rule book.
Modifius have sent us, our
Modifius,
friends
Green
at
Ronin.
Green Ronin.
And again,
Yes.
we're not trying to call anyone out, but just again, more gratitude. It just helps us to
Jay at
get
Yellowhand
further.
just sent us a bunch of
Oh my
content
God.
recently.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I haven't even had time to
Yeah.
go through all of that yet.
Yeah.
We should go to the interview. This is
Yes.
a really interesting one. And especially what we learn about Alea Temporis, Dan's eventually
Oh,
upcoming game. We eventually get there in our chat with him. Um, but you know me, I'm intrigued by almost everything, but I'm rarely hooked by anything. And I think I say while we're
this
talking, yeah,
game.
I think I say like I want to play this.
Yeah,
Like when
you
this
did with
comes
this
out,
game.
yeah, this is too creative and unique. I want to play this. So with that, let's hop over. Dan Labrecque is a consultant by day, husband and father of three by everything else, and a tabletop RPG player since 1982. Back when Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was the gateway drug and the Satanic Panic was trying to convince everyone's parents otherwise. He survived those troubling times as his parents were too busy working at Velcro USA to bother with that hype. These days, he writes and creates for the Yellow Hand, contributing to the Simulacrum RPG and the Eyes That Behold Call of Cthulhu campaign, and has authored the Monster of the Week Mysteries Web of Shadows, also converted to Call of Cthulhu, and Tidings of Dread. Currently, he's deep in Alea Temporis, a Forge in the Dark time travel game, plus faction guides for Monster of the Week, starting with the Pact of Mammon.
Dan, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Love to talk RPG stuff, and I know that you're going to have stuff that we have not yet talked about or discussed yet. So I am fascinated. And of course, just as we hit record, we start talking about bagels, and now I'm hungry. So
My fault. Yeah,
thanks
sorry,
for
you're
that,
welcome.
Jason. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So
Well,
again, yeah,
glad to be
thanks
here.
for thanks for joining. Hey, so I, I always toss like left field or softball questions or goofy questions, but um just listening, we talked a little bit before we started about kind of your background and where you worked and everything like that, and we can get into that. But curious, how did you get to where you're at working with Yellow Hand and like working and writing in RPGs? Obviously, you were gaming because that's where
Oh
traditionally
yeah,
people start.
and running games,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's the RPG history? How did he get into this?
yeah.
well, I'll give my age first. I am 54.
Represent.
So
Gen
I
X.
started yeah, Gen X started playing D&D when I was 9. So that would
Oh,
make it about 80, 81,
Yeah.
82-ish around there. So started
Redbox
doing
or
the
Redbox or AD&D?
AD&D actually.
But yeah, that was
It was
young
kind of
though.
a weird introduction. I had this friend who was like, "Oh, look, I got all these books," and I'm like, "I'm sure we played it so wrong. It didn't, but we had fun." And it was those old covers where you can just go to like your big department store back then, ones that don't even exist anymore, and just find a D&D book on the shelf. You're like, oh, that's kind of weird. But cool enough. I grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire. And back then, when you were like 9 or 10, you could go anywhere because we were Gen X, and it didn't
Yep.
matter. Your parents didn't care as long as you were home by dark, right? Or home for
Hmm.
dinner,
Yep.
depending.
Yep.
So I used to like take my bike and stuff and go all the way across, pretty much like all the way downtown. So I used to live on the west side of town. Go all the way downtown, and there was a comic book store there, and that store, I can't remember the name of it, it's not there anymore. But they used to have role playing game stuff, and there used to be a place that is closed now, that also had role playing game stuff. It's called 606. Um, and that one's more of a hobby store versus so it had other stuff like trains and models
Yeah.
and probably in this whole area of this chemistry area, we could buy chemicals, I guess, to create bombs. I don't know what you could do, but there was a bunch of stuff I was like, oh, that's cool. You could get this here. So I'm like, nah, I was good.
Pick up a D&D module and nitroglycerin at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. You could actually, although I do kick myself because I remember back then being into AD&D and that's what I was into. And then looking at these spiral bound books, and I'm like,
Yeah.
chainmail. What's this chainmail thing? Well, chainmail
Oh,
was basically the precursor to D&D. It was
Oh
a
yeah.
yeah.
it's a war game, fantasy war game. Gygax and I believe Dave
Yeah.
Arneson
Yeah.
started there, and then before they started going into the red box, and then D&D, AD&D later was more of a Gygax push. Um, so I've actually predominantly played AD&D more than even in any of the red box stuff.
Okay.
So that's where it started.
Yeah.
And I played through my teens till about high school, where I thought it wasn't cool anymore, and hadn't played for a while. Ended up getting married, moved to Las Vegas after we got married to work at UNLV.
Cool.
And when I was there, I needed something to do. So, I went to this one place that was running Adventures League. It was fourth edition D&D at the time. Met a bunch of people that are still my friends today.
Nice.
We still talk. Sometimes we visit. And have played and played and played for a while. And really, the writing part of it, I had been doing it on the side, but I didn't think like, I was writing a lot of ideas down. I was writing a lot of uh, just little snippets here and there of things that I was interested in, things that I thought would be like, oh, this would be a kind of a cool game. Just write it out. Not think much of it until uh, I started seeing other people just writing for games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was playing at Jetpack Comics, and that's where I met Al. And Al was starting to write for stuff. I'm like, huh, maybe I could get into the writing part of things. Started writing some adventures for Monster of the Week. They were like missions, mysteries, or whatever they call them now. Doing that, and then Al introduced me to Jay. And then I just
Okay.
started doing some stuff because I already had like a bunch of stuff I had written for Monster of the
Yeah.
Week, but they were things that I was just going to run at that table.
And we should specify that this is the illustrious Al Spader.
This is the
Okay,
illustrious
just
Al
to have
Spader,
that on the record. Okay.
The man, the myth, the legend.
That's right.
the OG Al Spader.
Yeah.
That's right, the one, the only.
Mhm.
So okay, so just to interject, because I want to keep going, but would you explain to everyone when you're talking about Monster of the Week? So this is really
Right.
interesting to me. What is that actually?
Well, that's the thing too, that to try to explain it to people, Monster of the Week is obviously a term,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And it could refer to a lot of TV shows that existed. Supernatural, Buffy, X-Files.
Sure.
All right. So that's the kind of the Monster of the Week format.
Mhm.
Like every week's a different monster, different mystery you need to solve. Um, just so happens that the game Monster of the Week uses those as inspiration,
Hmm. Hmm.
those kind of TV shows. And really, it's based on the Powered by the Apocalypse system.
Okay.
So, Apocalypse World being the first. You may have heard of that. Dungeon World was an offshoot of Apocalypse World.
Mhm.
Monster of the Week came about from that, using that rule set. And it's very narrative. So basically, there is an idea in the game that both the person running the game and the players create the world together.
Okay.
Right? So it's
Cool.
not. I tend to write things lengthy, so a couple of the adventures I wrote or mysteries I wrote for Monster of the Week tend to be lengthy. But normally a person could basically sit at a table and you have players. Each person has a playbook, which is unique, and you don't duplicate playbooks. So everybody has their own role. So it's not people aren't stepping on each other's toes. Everybody has a purpose as part of that team. And basically, the game is, you get these players. There's a challenge. Usually, it's a monster, or it could be some sort of weird phenomenon they have to stop or deal with in some fashion. And most of the times, it's a matter of trying to find the weakness, solution to that. So with a monster, you want to find the weakness. With a phenomenon, you want to find a way to stop it. Because generally going toe to toe with these things would probably be the end of your adventuring.
Yeah.
You're not going on any more mysteries, because these monsters will take you out in a few shots. But once you find the weakness, things develop and you usually resolve the game. Passion. But what's fun is however you plan the game to go isn't the way it's going to go.
Okay.
So
Nice.
there needs to be a lot of leeway. You need to be a fan of the players. Let them do what they do. You're just there to make sure that, the spotlight is shared, equally among people.
Right.
And you want to be a fan. Now you want to be a fan within a certain set of rules, but you still want to be a fan. So it's not one of those things where you get upset like, they solved my mystery. Oh, they solved your mystery? Cool. Game's done. They did it. Cool.
Nice.
There's nothing bad with that, right? You can go for an hour. It can go to 3 to 4 hours. And I've played some where they stumble, but the way you do it is like, if there's clues that you want players to have and they missed where the clue is going to be, and provide that clue somewhere else. So as the keeper, which is the title they use instead of GM. So as a keeper in Monster of the Week, you need to be flexible. And if they don't go one way and they didn't go to that location that you set up, you lovingly wrote about, because there's a clue there, provide it somewhere else. Because in the end, they don't know, right?
Yeah.
They don't know that it was supposed to be there. And you don't have to tell them that. You just say, okay, yeah, you find such and such there. Or, I like those types of games now. Playing D&D is getting a bit too much. Things can get bogged down where, it's about an hour of narrative and 3 hours of combat. And they just make you think, it's like, hey, this is tactical simulation. I want to tell a story. And I like that aspect of it. Tell a story, and the players, basically, you create the framework. Your players actually are the story.
Cool.
So you answered it before. I was gonna kind of ask and get your take on what you kind of how you feel about DMing or keeping between both environments playing, but you hit that. Already,
I prefer keeping, because it's so much fun just letting players kind of do what they need to do. Like it's very sandboxy, and you like, one of the games I wrote, one of the mysteries I wrote is called Web of Shadows, and it takes place in Eureka, Nevada, where the old mines are. And it deals with a cult, and it deals with these giant spider things that live in the mines. And that was a lot of fun. So I created this thing. You create the people, they're there, and you have an inciting action, which is basically somebody reaching out to the hunters. They're all called hunters, all the players. And you go from there. What do you do? Is basically how it goes.
Cool.
How actions happen is basically you play to find out. That's a big part of PBTA games. And you play the game. You say what you're going to do. As a keeper, you determine. So it's not like in D&D where you say, well, let me look at my sheet. I'm going to go in stealth. Nah, that's not kind of how PBTA works. And PBTA, which is a lot different than D&D, so sometimes the mindset shift has to happen You know, people look at their sheets like, I do this. Well, you want them to tell you what they're doing because that's the narrative,
Yep.
right? And if the narrative calls for a roll, because they don't always, right? Then you
Yeah.
make them do a special roll, right? And the way the game works is 2d6, right? 2d6, 1 to 6 is a failure, 7 to 9 is a success, but usually with consequences. So you do succeed, but
Like it.
some other stuff is
Like
happening
it.
too.
Yep.
Like in combat, if you're trying to do that, 7 to 9 is, yeah, you do the damage, they're going to hit you back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 10 or more is a success, straight out success. And you may be able to choose some things in addition to that success. For combat, you could just say, I do damage, but the monster doesn't hit me. Or you could say, I do damage, but I do twice the amount of damage I normally would, but the monster hits me. So you kind of have a little flexibility there. And the players do have too, because sometimes there's a little bit of strategy that's involved, but it's not overbearing. You know, everybody has a sheets. I usually provide sheets at the table, the reference sheets with all the rules, and they go at it, you know. And the rest of the stuff that's nice about those types of games is that all their character sheet, all the playbooks have everything the character can do on that playbook.
Right.
And it tells you what it does.
Yeah.
So they don't have to keep looking up a reference book.
Yeah.
It's right there. And they go, oh, I advance. You can look at the advance chart and tells you what you can get on one sheet.
That's nice.
Sometimes two-sided, but usually
still.
it's landscape format. Yeah, but it's great. Games like Blades in the Dark, Scum and Villainy, which are called Forged in the Dark games, are based on PBTA. So they're based on that. So they're offshoots of that even further.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you very cool.
No,
So
Monsters of the I was just gonna say Monsters of the Week is an Evil Hat game, right? It's published by Evil Hat, or is it?
Let me see. Yes, it is Evil Hat Production.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So then
I also run another one called Urban Shadows, but that's Magpie. So.
Okay, so back in the day then, after Al connected you, you started bringing some of this stuff with you over to the Yellow Hand.
Yes. Yep. I had started doing it on itch, actually, itch.io.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And they weren't they didn't have really much artwork. They were just PDFs. And I mean, I sold some stuff here and there on there. And it was cool to have people do that and buy some of my products there. But as soon as I started with Yellow Hand, I closed down a lot of that.
Sure.
So it wasn't being sold at two different places.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's some stuff that people have out there that I've created that are PDFs that haven't been published yet with Yellow Hand.
That's cool. But
so it was just a side project, and that's before I got involved with Yellow Hand. I didn't even, know about it. I was just creating it and putting it out there, and
That's so. Then, do we understand correctly? You also had a role in Simulacrum.
Yes. So, in the actual core book of Simulacrum, I have a few chapters.
Oh, cool.
In there that I've done, but there's a source book that is coming out for Simulacrum. That is part of the Kickstarter. It deals with nanotechnology.
Yeah.
That one I wrote
announced, right?
About
I've seen that on social media.
And that I did I want to say about 75%, 80% of that. So.
Oh wow!
Like the whole idea of having nanotech involved was supposed to be in the core book, but then again, I get verbose, and it became a lot. And they were like, "Dude, if we add this to the core book, it's going to be like another 100 pages or something."
Wow.
Well, no, 50 is about right. And they're like, "Yeah, we can't." But how about this? How about we just shift it over?
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So then did that putting it in an independent, a separate source book, did that buy you the pages to get everything in there you wanted to get in there?
Oh yeah, and some.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, with the involvement of the rest of the team too. So there's parts that they've written in there too, and we're finishing that up right now, and there's another mission that's in there. That I have a chapter to as well. So the concept of it, all of it was just years and years being involved and just liking the cyberpunk genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not having to deal with necessarily this terminology needs to make sense. No, it doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to be what's the word? It just has to have the vibe, right? So you're looking for that
Okay.
vibe, whatever it's called. If it's all, and I think a lot of science fiction writers, they come up with like terminology and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, but it's an ethos, it's a vibe, they're putting
Yeah.
something out there, and
Interesting.
like if you break it down, you're like, that doesn't make any sense, but
Uh-huh.
you provide an in-story explanation for it, then
That makes
that's the
sense.
terminology. Like you
Yeah.
go take a start warp drives.
Yep.
Somebody came up with warp drive, but when you break it down, you're like, what?
Yep.
Like time warp? What are you talking about? No, somebody just came up with warp drives. Somebody explained what they do, and everybody's like, oh yeah, warp drives,
Yeah.
hyperspace,
Yep.
things like that.
Midichlorians.
Don't go there, my friend. That never happened.
Yeah, I tend to be with you on that one. Yeah.
Talk about ruining your own legacy.
Uh oh yeah, we should
Lucas is
stop
just
or
like,
we're gonna end up talking about the sequels, which are all fun to watch and yet. Um
eh.
so okay, so then you're also and have been for a while working on Alea Temporis, right?
Yes.
And that so the risk of time?
Alea Temporis, yeah, it could be the die of time,
Oh,
the luck of it depends
yeah.
how you translate it.
Yeah.
It's I can't remember what it
Oh, I
is.
like that.
Julius Caesar had used a term, so that the die is cast, and I
Yeah.
can't. And then from there, I thought this is Alia something. I can't remember what it was. And then the Temporis is just a time.
Yeah. And so
At,
what
at first, the going name was Time Traveler's Gambit. I'm like, I didn't like that,
they're
but
kind
I
of cool
just
though still. Yeah.
it's still okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But this will have like this has cachet and it like it will stand out. It's catch like it sounds unique. It gives the game a
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
sound, a different title.
Right. And that is based on the Forge in the Dark set. So like the Blades in the Dark, what's good about Blades in the Dark is that if anybody wants to create games based on that rule set, which is called Forge in the Dark, the license is basically an open license, open game
Nice.
license. So you could just go in. It just tells you, hey, just give us credit, say that that the rules came from us, and you can't use actual names of
Yeah.
stuff in
Right.
our books. Which I'm
Right.
like, easy enough,
Yeah.
easy enough, my friend.
So you the Kickstarter is still a ways out there. You're still working on
Oh
this,
yeah, yeah.
but without asking too much, like what can you tell us about this game?
Okay, well, it's a time travel game. There's not a lot of time travel games out there. I mean, there are
No.
some, but you figure the
No, there's
genre out
not.
there is like a lot of fantasy, a lot of horror, all that. But I'm like, you know what? Uh, I've always liked the idea of time travel, and I'm a big Doctor Who fan. Um,
I was listening to the
like
theme
the
song in the car on the way home today.
and there's a lot of other time travel ones I've watched. Um, all the names escape me on some of them. But with that in mind, I said, okay, let's look at the Forge in the Dark rules. What are we working with here? Well, in Forge in the Dark, you have a few things. You have the playbooks. They have playbooks as well. So
Okay.
you created the playbooks for each person on the team. Then you start thinking, okay, well, let's delve into it. Um, One thing that's unique to a lot of the Forge in the Dark games are that um, you have things called crews. Now, a
Okay.
crew is basically all the players together sharing resources.
Nice.
So you have each individual player, but
Hmm.
they are a crew.
Hmm.
And in that crew, they could have a hideout, they could have extra things. And then I decided, okay, what methods of time travel do we want? So I had six originally, but I pared it back because some of them, it's not that some of them needed work, but certain things required a lot of explanation or
Yeah.
rule changes.
Yeah, I'm
So
curious.
the first three I've got are so I have one called the Flux Engine, which is your stereotypical time machine. Then I have time suits, uh, like the Marvel kind of time suits.
Hmm.
You can use
Hmm.
that time. And then I have these things called Janus points. Now Janus points are basically like stargates.
Cool.
So
Okay.
they
Oh,
go to
cool.
specific places. They're not as flexible, but they're more
Hmm.
reliable,
Right.
right? Those other things you may break, and then you're left kind of stranded a little. The other three that I'm working on that are actually going to be source books, which I in the process of working on. Mind jumping, like Quantum Leap situation.
I
So
thank you
that'll be involved.
Will Ziggy have like an appearance, or is that too close?
Oh man,
Please tell
he
me
probably
Sam gets
could.
home.
Yeah.
So we have the mind jumping. We have one called Arcane Nexus, which is basically more of a sorcery kind of way
Yeah.
of time travel
Yeah.
using rituals to do it. Um, in the game, there's a cult, and it's a cult of Yog Sothoth from HP Lovecraft, Yog
Okay.
Sothoth. But I think it's public domain. I'm like, yeah, I'm using that. That's cool. Um, and you had to
Nice.
think, and there's the last one's called Temporal Storms, which are just time storms.
Oh,
Like these
that's
storms will come,
interesting.
and then you have to figure out a way to basically get into the time storm to go where you go. But control is kind of harder
Iffy.
to obtain
Are,
in that. So,
it in game, do
mhm.
will all six of these options exist in game, or are these options based on how people want to play, where they want to take it?
It can be both.
Okay.
So in the game, it is possible to have all of them involved,
Okay.
right? But
Wow.
your team probably specializes in one type,
Okay. Oh, that's
right?
cool.
So like,
Yeah.
but probably can use the other ones if they need to.
Okay.
In the game, there's also these things called factions, right? So one of the factions in the game is called the Keepers of Time, which is basically like the time authority.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Ooh.
and they pretty much control as much as they can regarding time travel. And they're looking to keep the status quo everywhere throughout time. So they have agents put in different stations throughout time, and usually control a lot of the Janus points and a lot of the technology.
Yeah.
Then you have this other group called the Redshift. Now the Redshift are kind of like saboteurs in a way, in that sometimes they see things evolving in history that were bad, or like um, that were bad for the regular common person.
Okay.
So I'm not saying they're freedom fighters, but they're really at odds with the keepers of time.
Interesting. Yeah.
And these folks will try to change time on purpose. Say there's a massacre that's about to happen. Well, the keepers of time say, well, it happened. It should still happen, or else it's going to change things downstream. The Redshift, they're like, yeah, it might. We'll investigate what it changes and see what we're willing to accept, but we're still going to change it,
Hmm.
right? This massacre isn't going to happen. You know, it might come down to a mission where the East India Company never makes it to India, right? And you
Yeah.
prevent that from happening,
Jeez.
and that changes time significantly. But
You got
people
Brad.
aren't really,
Brad's into alternate history. I think you hooked him there.
I
yeah,
read a lot. I don't know if you ever heard of like Harry Turtledove and
yeah,
alt
yeah. I
history.
have,
I
yeah,
love Harry Turtledove alt history stuff. So you just like, I'm just like soaking this all up right
Oh
now.
yeah.
yeah. So that happens a lot in the game. Although one of the big things that controls this from not happening as much is paradox, and paradox
Yep.
does happen where uh, you could get written out of time just
Yeah.
entirely. There's a faction in the game called the Unwritten, and the Unwritten are people who survived their timelines going away.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they
Hmm.
exist, but they were never born. They
Right.
could have lived in a town that never existed, according to
Right.
the timeline they're in now.
Right.
So you have these people. You have the Void Walkers, which are people who live in between time spaces, which are not human.
Yep.
They, although they'll be more than happy to make deals with you if you do stuff. Then there's another faction called Paradox Hunters, and these people are basically mercenaries that you pay them to stop these people from meddling with time. They'll go back and stop you
Unmetal.
from meddling with
Right.
time. Yeah, they'll go in, and they'll try to put things back in order to what they were. There's
It's
rules in the
really
game too,
creative.
depending on like how much changes you make. Depends on how much like is it a pebble in a river that you just throw down, or did you just throw down half a mountain inside a river,
Right.
right?
Right.
That also depends on what happens to you.
Yeah.
But in the end, though, paradox gets everybody. So there's rules in the game where people have to deal with time travel,
Yeah.
but there's a thing called the paradox campaign clock, and once that ticks up, you know,
Oh.
and your clock runs out. There's a lot of clocks in the game. And what's interesting about clocks is like depending on what the actions are that occur, the ticks of the clock could be good or bad. But there's downtime that's in the game as well, which is what I like about this game, about the Fortune Dark games, is that a lot of them have downtime. So you just did your mission, you reap your rewards. Now what do you do between your next mission? Let's talk about that. Do you heal up? Do you try to remove some of the stress on you? Because stress is a big issue in this game. You can stress out of the game entirely, and can't play anymore in that character. Or even do I try to work on trying to repair the paradox? Which isn't easy. But you can do that to try to either slow it down or push it back a little bit. There's a lot of that in the game.
This might be a really naive question because this sounds fascinating, honestly. What is the default time period? Where maybe that's not even relevant. Like, is there one for the game where things sort of start
the default time period is your time. It could be now.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be though, because in the game as well, I have your character can choose a starting era.
Okay.
So as a time traveler,
it's fascinating.
You don't even need to be from the modern period.
Right.
You could be from the Renaissance and just
far future.
Or far future, exactly. That's the game
too. This
is
really interesting. Okay.
So because you just ended up being there because, as I've told you, these keepers, the keepers of time, and a lot of the other groups have people stationed in different time periods, in different eras, and they pretty much police that era.
Yeah.
So if somebody's time traveling in, they have the equipment to tell somebody's here that's not supposed to.
This is going to go to Kickstarter, and then like one night, Dan's going to wake up to an agent from the Department of Temporal Investigations just standing over his bed, like, we need to talk.
Yeah, you're too close on it. You're too close.
Why is Owen Wilson in my room?
No, I was thinking Star Trek. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that is absolutely fascinating to me. That is a really unique game. I don't, like you said, it's time travel is difficult, like for a story, right? Like it's the best time travel story I have yet to encounter, or have I? Is in Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy, season 2. They navigated the paradox so well as just excellent writing, right?
Yeah, I'll have to watch that then.
It's totally, and Wesley's back, right? But it is that second season is just first rate Trek, but they handled time travel like on a really large scale so well, better than I've seen it anywhere else. And like this sounds very akin to that, like where it's legitimately and creatively handled and you can play in it. That's really provocative.
Right. One of the things that I've been working on too is just a book of missions. Like in the game they're called ops.
Yeah.
So they're operations, but I use the shorthand of ops for the game, and all the supplements I have for it have ops. The core book has ops, and I try to base it on as much historical, at least having going through, and this is where I'll say I have used Wikipedia to look these things up.
I was totally thinking Wikipedia.
It doesn't have to be accurate. All right, it doesn't have to. It has. The way I look at it is like the inciting incident, that one period.
Yep.
All right, this is the period. What happens after isn't going to be accurate because
that's right.
The best ones, of course, are the ones really far back, the Middle Ages and stuff like that, because
that's so cool.
Earlier than that, up to the Middle Ages, Roman Empire, any of that, it's kind of nice to write for because you're like, hey, not a lot of this stuff was written about. They wrote a little bit, but the gaps aren't filled.
Nope.
The future stuff is good. Near history is a little bit more difficult, but not entirely. I have an op I just came up with. Not up with, an idea for on Charles Babbage.
Okay.
Who's the inventor of the computer, and having him play into it. This one might be one that involves, because the machine he created never got finished, and then in the future, in the 90s, they finished the machine, said this actually worked, but it's for some reason he was not able to complete that machine in a time period.
Yeah.
But then again, who was involved in preventing him or giving him the idea of continuing this machine, right? So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
one of those things like,
I want to play this game. This sounds
I do too.
really
I could
cool.
just see. I could see you could. I mean, just the idea of like even like time jumping between periods. It
right.
it kind of
Oh,
reminds me a little bit. I hate to like say it. It kind of reminds me of some of the stuff that I had like talked about doing in GURPS, but
yeah,
now I won't have to do that. I
that's
can.
right. This honestly has Douglas Adams all over it for me. I I would have a good time with this.
Good.
This,
Well, thank you. I like that. I
yeah,
like the comparison. That's nice.
yeah.
Uh, and yeah, so I think, for those people who love history, that's going to be great. I've even wrote like a small PDF on how somebody could actually use this with slight modification in the classroom. So
See,
again,
that's
so
cool.
making history a game where like normally in the game you could do certain dice rolls for like
Yeah.
I researched a period, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. But what if you gave your students the homework assignment and said,
Yeah.
research a period, you get extra dice, your
Look,
engagement roll.
I mean, let us know. Like we through the podcast and at least with one personally, like we know a number of people now, including professional GMs, who focus
Yes.
on RPGs for educational purposes, like in the classroom. I think
Yeah.
that would be such a good application.
Because the
God,
idea of history, that's my minor was history,
nice.
uh, and it's an important thing in class for critical thinking when you start dealing what if,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
What if this didn't happen? What are the implications of this not happening or happening in a
Nice.
different way? Which is basically what the game is about.
Yeah,
Like, what if you did change it? What happens downstream? What are the effects in the future of what you just did?
yeah.
Did you
I
go in and prevent Kennedy from being assassinated? Okay,
I've
so what happens now?
I've never been an alternate history person, but this game sounds great. Like
I'm
I
gonna have you
want
reading
to.
Harry. We're gonna play this, and you're gonna be reading Harry
I mean,
Turtledove
I
before you
want
know
this.
it.
I want to play this. I want to. I know time periods I want to go back to through some op, and I know time periods I want to go forward to through some op, and neither of them are anywhere close.
So you're
But
gonna be
here's the
we're
interesting
gonna like we're gonna role play Bill and Ted. Is that what we're gonna bring in Bob Genghis Khan and
you
Dave
could though.
Yeah.
Beethoven? I know
You
that's
Maybe,
could
I
run
mean
but
it.
you
Yeah,
I
could,
exactly.
joke
yeah.
I don't want to make light of it, but I just there's
A
what
phone
you've
booth
just
as a time machine?
described
Gee, I mean, it happens.
hot tub time. Yeah, I mean there's just there is no but
That
this
degenerated.
there's no I didn't I meant that as a joke seriously because that's just not even
No
really a
judgment.
travel. That's not a time travel movie. Um, as much as
Well,
they
that
invoked
is
Motley Crue in
misleading
it, which made it worth
advertising.
it.
Okay.
They invoked Motley Crue. It was still a decent enough entertainment movie, but it was not a time travel movie. But I just seriousness though, going and playing this and then being able to like seriously take a point in history and then role playing out
Yeah.
all the potential changes, the ripple, the butterfly effect, and all of
Yeah,
that of
right.
what could happen from like I go back to Harry Turtledove again, Timeline 191. It was his one of his big opuses of series is if um order Lee's orders hadn't been circumvented or found, and McClellan's army had been defeated up in Pennsylvania, and the U.S. was forced to surrender, and um,
Oh, okay.
Confederacy the Confederacy continued to exist. And so for it was an 83-year opus of books of stories and all the little ripples that occurred along that and
Mhm.
how to play that. And
Okay,
I
so
just
let me ask you a question then. On that note, Dan,
Yeah.
so like I'm thinking of what you're saying, Brad, and the mechanics and the narrative options of this game, Dan. And so for the GM, I mean, this strikes me as being potentially very heavy lifting. Like you need a GM on their toes to navigate this in game, especially if they want to go a little sandboxy.
Well, it's more after game, right? Like in
Okay.
game wise, it's not really much of a concern. You just do what you need to do.
Okay.
The
Okay.
implication parts of stuff
Got
that
it.
happen after
Uh-huh.
are post game.
And you do that
Now,
collectively as a crew.
You can, absolutely.
Okay.
There's no wrong answer, really. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
got
just
it.
you could do that if, and you just, I mean, there is that lifting, but I think everybody can do it together. So you
Yeah.
have to be in.
Yeah.
This is not a game for those people who just feel like they just want to sit down and then they go and they're done.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
This is a
Okay.
campaign. This is something that everybody's going to be involved with. I mean, and that's the goal, is to try to get that involvement. That's why I think for the classroom it's very interesting, because ask the class, right? What happens now? Use
Right.
your white
Yeah,
erase
that's really
board or
cool.
smart board and go up and start going,
Yep.
okay, if this didn't happen, did this happen? Well, no, this couldn't have happened because it had a dependency on the other thing happen. Right? You're like, okay, so now what do things look like now with that?
Yep.
There are some things in history where, hey, if they didn't happen short term, time repairs itself, right? It just basically the river keeps going. And maybe just corrects, maybe one small detail.
Right.
But what are those
So
important moments that
interesting.
do really make a difference? Now, earlier I was talking about mind jumping and why I had certain source books and why mind jumping is not the original book.
Okay.
The reason for that is because all the playbooks you're dealing with, so with you physically being able to go back in time, which means you can carry equipment with you, clothing, et cetera, et cetera. Mind jumping, you can't. So mind jumping, you go into another. So I had to figure out, okay, well, I got to figure out another way to work with mind jumping. I had the basics down, but I'm like, these people going back with nothing. So with mind jumping, that equipment is then pushed towards either being able to pick up in a time period or the stuff from the future, right?
Yep.
Being psychically connected to you. So you have a link. You always have a link to an engineer that's controlling the control room. That engineer sends you and brings you back. But that engineer is also responsible for your equipment, which isn't really your equipment per se. It's equipment slots. Now, what's
Okay.
great about the game, all the Forged in the Dark games, is you have an equipment list of things you have.
Yep.
Now, each playbook has their own, and then you have standard equipment that everybody can use. You don't mark off your equipment until you have to use it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So what happens
When
is you
you
have all these boxes. You can decide what load you want to carry. And so with mind jumping, it was a mental load. The more stuff you have, the harder it is. The heavier your load of mental stuff in you, the harder it is to acclimate to the body you're in. That the mind is still there. That's there. They can push you out. So once you're there, you can say, hey, I'm going with a normal load, which is 6 boxes. Each thing has a cost. So things like that are really good, right, might take 3 boxes. Well, you mark those boxes off when you need it. You say, I have that because I planned for it. You're a professional. You've done this before, right? So you've planned for it, but now you only have 3 more boxes left to use, which now you got to kind of be like, what do I use and don't use? So
This is so
do
interesting.
I got to ask a kind of, Jason loves when I use this term. I got to ask a sausage making question.
all right.
And so your writing process, your creative process, what kind of tool, like this is a really like uber nerdy type of question. When you're like writing and developing and note taking all this and creating all this content, what kind of tools do you use for this? Do you use like,
I've used
spreadsheets, Google Docs,
Obsidian.
and
Well, mostly it's just
you
Word
use
docs.
Obsidian?
I have used Obsidian. Yeah, I have used
Is that
Obsidian.
what you said though? I didn't hear what you
Yeah,
said.
no, you heard correctly. Yeah.
Wow, you're the
Uh,
first. You're the first person the first live person I've talked to that uses Obsidian besides me. That's
no,
awesome.
I think it's good just to put notes in and being able to connect certain things.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
and it works pretty good that way. I used another one. Oh, Notion I've used. I think that's okay
Yep.
too.
Okay.
Although I get tired of that because um, there's constraints for some reason. Like I could put so much in, and then like I go back in, the stuff I just put in there is gone. It's like not saved. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. That's annoying as hell. But I always have redundancies. Uh, Most of the stuff is really through like just a bunch of Word docs.
Okay.
What's nice is I could do like small sections with Word doc, and then when I have a lot of good, I can do chapter by chapter or section by section.
Yeah.
And what's good with the Word doc, when I just figured out how to use that, like this one trick where you can go in and put an object and say text to file, and you could take all your other chapters that you had as those text files, and it just creates one big long. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Oh,
I didn't know how to do that, but I just figured it out. And I'm like, damn, that's freaking helpful.
I need
Because I
to
do
learn
that
that.
because I write things in pieces, right? And then
Mhm.
I have to organize those pieces. Sometimes I'm like, what's the best flow? And and although I don't use it for writing purposes, uh, I have used Claude to just look at the flow that I'm writing to see if
Oh,
this even makes
yeah.
sense. So what I'll do
Yes.
is I'll load up the documents in there, put them in there, and I'll be like, hey, can you take a look at this? Does this make sense? I'll put like copies of other books that are out there too, like say the actual Blades in the Dark book. I say, take a look at this. This book is the standard. And take a look at what I write. Where do I need to? And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, you should probably put this chapter here and this chapter there. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I'll read it later. I'm like, yeah,
Nice.
that kind of actually makes sense. Doesn't always. So you have to use that in mind. You have to be like, okay, no, I still like where I am.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be right, but I think it's good to be able to use it as a tool, not necessarily to write the stuff, but as a tool to organize your thoughts. So I think it's useful in that aspect. One could get carried away and have AI do everything, but it loses that
Yeah.
that touch, the people,
Yeah.
the peopleness, I
The
guess,
peopleness, yes.
the peopleness of a game. So
That's
um,
cool.
yeah, so for organizing purposes, I think it's helpful because I tend to write and then write pieces here and there. I could be driving in the car and just have myself recorded, just record myself saying stuff, and then use that, and then transcribe that, and then get that added to it. It's whenever a thought comes in. I use a lot of my free time is that. So this has become a major hobby of mine. I mean, to
Yeah.
write
Yeah.
it. I mean, I haven't been paid anything for any of it yet. I just
Yeah,
like it.
then
I
it's
said
still
I'll
a
stop
hobby,
doing
Ho-
it.
ho-
at least for the moment.
Hopefully
I'll
someday.
stop doing it when it stops being fun.
That's outstanding. I for one am very, very much looking forward to learning about the Kickstarter for this. Uh, I will definitely be backing this one. This
Yeah,
is fascinating. I want to play this.
And you're gonna
I
get a
want
lot
to
of
play it.
stuff out of it too, like a lot of pages. So be ready to read a lot of stuff. Because
I mean, that's our kick. Like RPGs is lit. So
yeah,
most of what we have, we just read and talk about.
Mhm.
yeah. And my
So we
and
talk.
just like Brad, I'm like into really that whole alternative time. Yeah, it's just yeah, I think I love that stuff. I think it's pretty cool. So
As Zoom does its automatic thing because Brad hasn't shut it
I
off. So
really am annoyed by
we're
this.
just,
I
I
I
don't
got
know
to
why
turn
Zoom
this
did it,
off.
but like, Brad, you can't see this because we're an audio podcast. But like, as Dan's talking about like
My
Kickstarter
my
time,
auto framing is
Yeah,
working.
Brad
Yeah.
is just like
yeah,
slowly
I saw that too, and I was
zooming
like, what?
in. It's
I thought he was
it's
doing
like
It's
that on
dramatic.
purpose.
just a talking
It's
head,
it's
right?
just it's but it's funny as Dan mentioned my name, my face zooms in. It's like
Yeah.
dramatic. It's like a dramatic zoom,
Oh,
like
is
from
that
like
why
a
it does
bad.
that? Okay.
It's like from
It's a
a bad
yeah.
80s drama
It's the
that was on
default.
CBS or something.
It's the default with the latest update that you have to turn off.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
work on that because
Well, one of the things
I'm
I
not
did
working.
notice on Zoom
I'm
is like
normally
I
in an
could raise my
office.
hand.
Oh, I turned
You,
that off a few years, like during the
you
pandemic.
raise your
Like,
hand sometimes, and you all of a sudden it shows up on your thing. I'm like,
oh,
that's because I
well,
talk with my hands, right? And then I'll do
yeah,
that. And all of a sudden I see I'm raising my hand. Why am I doing that? I didn't
same
realize
here. And then
that
there'd be
before.
like bubbles flying
Yeah.
past me, like all kinds. It's like, no, no, no. I can still talk with language. I
Yeah,
don't need
still can do that. Yeah.
bubbles. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I normally am in an office at a desk. I'm working in a different I'm recording in a
Yeah.
different location in the house this time, so that's why
Yeah.
I'm not in my most comfortable position.
Yeah.
So, um, but so that's why I think it's having trouble framing me as well.
Yeah, but
So,
but that's again tech. It's great until it isn't. Of course, I'll stop there because like we didn't record the whole tech discussion before we hit record, which is probably best.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So the other stuff I've written to, aside from Alea Temporis, So I have that one adventure. It's called Web of Shadows. I told you for Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
My other one is called Tidings of Dread. I think it's a fun one because it deals with Krampus. So
Interesting.
or Krampus is how
Yeah,
people say it.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's in there. So that's a fun one. Um, and then there's one that's in the works. So I decided to start doing factions for Monster of the Week as well.
Cool.
So there's a faction guide that will get out there eventually. It's called, and I think it's just going to go straight to Drive Through RPG. It's not going to be a Kickstarter.
Okay.
But it's called the Pact of Mammon. So it's kind of like a demon faction. These are the business demons. So business class demons.
Oh, yeah,
So
Mammon,
yep,
Mammon money. Yeah.
yeah. So that's my first one. I have a bunch of other ones that are out there dealing with the Fae, vampires, just lots of notes through about 5, 6 years and even further. Um, just
Do you
stuff
have time
that
to game? Do you have time to game between work and writing and everything like that? You still got time to get out there and do some gaming and stuff? Or?
yeah, so on Saturdays I tend to go out to Jetpack Comics in Rochester.
Nice.
So I'll give them a plug. Jetpack Comics, Rochester, New Hampshire. That's where Al, that's where I met Al
That's cool.
and Ben Swainday, who is also at one point a writer for Yellow Hand. He also writes. He's written some Monster League stuff and a few other things. But yeah, so I get to play there. I get to run games there. But it's like once every maybe. Sometimes I can get there frequently where it's every Saturday, but then my wife needs me for other stuff, so it's not that Saturday.
Yep.
So gotta make sure that's taken care of. Make sure the wife's happy.
Happy
But most
wife,
of the time
happy
she
life.
lets me. Yeah. Well, most of the time she's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. I have nothing going on today, but if she has something going on today, I respect that.
Yeah, of
So I
course.
play that, and then every other Sunday I'm running game right now online, um, with a few of us. It's been running now for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh,
It's a continuous campaign of Dungeon World. It's not a fast leveling game,
yeah.
but everything is narrative. So what happens in game has a lot to do with what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy aspect based on Dungeon World, but it's not quite pure Dungeon World. And we've been just running through that, and it's just so much fun.
Do you just play over Zoom?
We play over. It's called Playroll.
Is that a
Actually,
VTT? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of a
Okay.
newer one. It's never been. It's not quite finished yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I got that name right.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, playroll.com. Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
Okay.
I think it's
That's
still in
cool.
beta. It's been there for a
Oh, yeah.
while, but they keep adding new things to it. I used to do stuff on Roll20, but I haven't done that in a while.
Hmm.
This is the one everybody wants to use right now. So I do it on there. Everything's on there. We're on camera, and
Nice.
I love it because it gives me a chance to ham it up. I
Mhm.
just love that. I just love acting for my characters and stuff like that. I love really getting into the role, which is one of the reasons why I love the narrative games. It's just
Right.
allows
Right.
me to be the character, and it's just fun. Making people laugh and just have fun. It's good.
That makes it worthwhile too, because
Oh, yeah.
if you're especially if you're leading it and you're doing it, it even gives maybe even some of the folks that aren't used to that permission to even stretch themselves and do it
Absolutely.
themselves.
Mhm.
I mean, I think if you've got one person like that at the table, there's the potential for others to learn how to do that, to get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
used to run the D&D games, I used to do some D&D games and be a DM at Jetpack Comics too. The reason why I stopped is it became work.
Ah, yeah,
Make sure
that's
you
no
have
fun.
maps. Make sure you have minis because
Right.
everybody came to expect it. I would rather just sit there and just like, hey, let's tell a story.
Yeah.
And the dice are there when you need the dice to be there, right? So it's
Yeah.
just let's tell a story together. But this was like you had a module you run. Everybody sits at this table. They expect the map. They do this. Now you got to handle 6 to 7 players around a table trying to decide what
Yeah,
their
that's a
next move
lot.
is going to be.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my god! Especially the higher tiers of D&D, like tier 3 and 4. There's just too many options, and it just took too much time. And I just got fed up. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. So I stepped back for a while. Um, and then people started running. So now we have an alternate table that runs non D&D.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's let me play a lot of games that are out there.
That's
I mean,
cool.
there's so many cool games out there that,
Hmm.
a lot of people at the
Yes.
D&D tables don't even want to touch them. They're just like, this is my game. That's it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, you're just missing out on so much. Some of them are just so quirky, like
More
what was
than
it, one
ever
I play
before.
called
Yeah.
Cobalt Ate My Baby or something like that. I think it's something like that. And
The
and you all
dingo
play
ate my
kobolds.
baby.
You all play kobolds, and it's just
Oh, that
ridiculous.
is great.
And you end up dying and pulling out another character. That's part of the game. You're just like, okay, you do certain roles, and like you're dead. Pull up your other character, and you just continue playing like that, and it's just wacky. And then some games aren't wacky, right? There's like a lot of the 2D20 games, like Pact of Cthulhu, which I
Yeah.
love. I think
Not
that's a really good
wacky.
one.
Yeah.
Not wacky at all. Um, Vaesen, we've been playing that. I think we're
I
playing
don't know
that this
that one.
weekend. Vaesen is
That's free league.
yeah, it's free league,
Oh,
yeah.
VASEN.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Hmm.
you
Okay.
are monster hunters in Norway
Mhm.
during like the turn of the century. So
Oh. Oh. Man, and
so it's a whole
all,
Hey,
different thing dealing with the folklore of it, but it's a different rule system. It's kind of neat. Coriolis. There's another
yep,
one
I
which is
haven't
I
played
think it's
that. Yep.
free league as well. I
Yeah.
think it's free league.
They have a lot. They've got a
They do
creative
good. They do really
product
good
list.
good work
Yeah.
with their games and
But
stuff.
just like the Yellow
Urban
Hand. I
Shadows is
mean,
another one I run too.
yeah, but just like the Yellow Hand, I mean, I think it's we are at such like this is such a golden period, I think, for tabletop RPGs because of in part because of the wonderful diversity of these games. And you don't have to be a gorilla in the room now to innovate and write and design and then publish. Even
Right.
if it's just on PDF. And I think that's wonderful, right? So many there are more things than anyone could ever play at this point.
I think there is, but it's a kind of a golden age, right? So you got a lot of games. Some of them may
Yeah.
not do as well. Some of them
Right.
will do fine.
Yep.
But it's not for lack of options. Um,
No.
right.
I think the Kickstarters are trending downwards, but a lot of games are still getting made and still being published.
Yeah, we've heard.
I've got
Yeah.
Kickstarter. I'm backing Kickstarters out there.
Nice.
So it's just whatever I find interesting, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Absolutely.
board games too, so
Yep.
some of those Kickstarters I'm in. One of the board games, I'm trying to look right now. It is, oh yeah, the Tiny Epic series, right? So it's just basically board games that come in like small little boxes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and I think those are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like getting board games, but I don't really have people that want to play around me here. So my kids are like, "Yeah, Dad, you're not that
Makes it
cool or
harder.
something."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I have a stack of them over here of games that I want to play, but I've tried to like focus it now where I'm like, okay, can I play solo?
Okay, but
yeah,
don't
that's
you want to
true.
play Twilight Imperium?
Yes. Well, that's definitely not a solo board game.
I mean,
You
so
need people for
like
that.
the next time I'm in, like we're just gonna have to dedicate the whole
You,
weekend
I
to
bought
learning how to do it.
Gloomhaven and I played it probably
Oh.
twice.
Right.
you
And
know,
these are not
And it's
inexpensive games
hard.
either.
And again, it's freaking hard, man. Especially being dealt to only certain cards, and then you have to use all your cards. And even if you play it right, you always have the attrition of at least one card. And it's just by
Interesting.
the end, if you run out of cards, basically you're done.
Huh.
and those aren't like the traditional, unless your spouse or partner is a gamer, it's not one of
No.
those things that, hey,
Right.
you want to get out and play it? No,
I think
No,
it's fair to say
when
my
setup
spouse
takes
is
as
not a
long as
gamer.
playing the game, yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Right. Well, like you
although
said,
I
like
did play
the
Fallout
board.
recently. I did like that. That was kind of fun.
Oh, that's
Fallout board game.
interesting. Yeah.
I played a
Dan, thanks
2D20
for
game too.
Yeah,
what was
yes,
that? Yes,
yeah,
that
yeah.
is. That's a Modifius has both the
Jim
board
is the
game.
project manager for Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Johnson, who's a friend of the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, tried to get
Dan,
into
thanks
the
for
show. Yeah. Sorry, because we keep
we keep it. Yeah, I know we want to be cognizant of time. Dan, thanks for joining us tonight. We really
Oh,
appreciate
thank
it.
you
We know
so much.
you know, but keep us in the loop on the
Oh,
Kickstarter and everything.
please.
We'd love to have you back when you're
Yeah,
ready to do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially if you
absolutely.
want
I'd
to.
love to be back actually.
Yeah, we would love
Yeah.
to have you back to talk about, I mean, anything, but
Anything and everything.
especially the Kickstarter. Like, yeah, that just and to at that point to be able to talk about all those other options that will be coming. Like, this is just
Oh yes.
such a provocative game. I mean, it's I don't back a lot of Kickstarters, but like this one, like I badly want to play your game. So keep us in the loop, please. We would love to have you back.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely. All right. Well, I get two sales here. It's great. Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
You got two. You got
I
two.
get two.
It's I mean, Pioneer is one of those games. Obviously, Trek is one of those games, but talking tonight, your face kind of lit up. I think there's another game that's been added to the list of games that we're gonna have to try. Um,
To paraphrase our favorite emperor, we will watch that game with much interest. That's
yes.
a pretty loose paraphrase, but yeah, we will definitely watch. We will watch that game, and we will continue to be fans, newfound fans of Dan's work in general.
Yes, absolutely. Dan, thanks so much for joining us. We really
Very much.
appreciate it. As the content comes out, we're definitely going to have you back because we want to hear the insides and outs. We love to
Oh
hear the
yeah.
stories behind how the
Mm,
writing occurs, the
mhm.
writing process, the creative process, especially when it comes to games and, working on the mechanics and things like that. It's just
As
fascinating.
well as like, what about real life motivated
Yeah.
those games or that mechanic or whatever it is?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. So as we head over to Loon Cafe, you were going to say something earlier, and you're going, "No, I'm going to save this for Loon
I'm
Cafe." So
saving
why
it
don't
for the
we?
cafe.
So why don't we start with you?
Um, we both received an email this morning as we record this section. You know where I'm going
Yes.
with this. Our listeners won't be entirely surprised, not either of them. There was a brief update from Mongooses Pioneer,
Hmm.
which I mean, we have because we're backers. We have the PDF of the core rule book as it's progressing, right? And it's remarkable. Um, I've been reading the rules for that. I've been reading the dice mechanics, and man, is it clean and clever. But there was an update, and so the update is that Chris Griffin, who has been kind enough to be on Dice and Wine, and we're gonna bring him back, everybody. Don't worry. There's a plan with Chris for that. This
Yes.
summer or fall. I'm thinking it's probably depending on their schedule on Mongoose side. It's probably going to be fall, but um, there's a plan for that. But there was an announcement that went out from Kickstarter saying that Chris had been interviewed very recently about Pioneer. Now, ironically, I'd already seen it earlier that morning. Or maybe it was the night before, but it was just nice to get an update saying, "Hey, it's still coming. We're still aiming for August. Here's the update." I am so taken. I'm so taken with that game, and I am purposely not spending significant time in the core rulebook PDF until that beautiful book is in my hands. And then I want to see the artwork, and I can't wait to see just all of it laid out and beautifully printed as it will be. And honestly, talk about like old school D&D. I expect to spend considerable time this summer,
Yes.
the fall in the appendices.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
I don't think I've ever said that about a game before, but I'm gonna Gygax on that one. Yeah.
As part of a lot of the work we've been doing in the house, um, I've moved. I had to do some furniture moving,
Yeah,
and
so is your library still where it was?
what's interesting is this is just more a library thing. I used to have my recliner and an ottoman in my library. Well, the recliner is now in my room,
Uh-huh.
short term,
Yep.
because it's going to be going in the family room shortly.
Okay.
The ottoman moved into the living room or into the living area, replaced another footstool type piece of furniture that's
Mm-hmm.
been since retired.
Yep.
And I had an end table that I set up in the family room for use out there.
Yep.
And so ultimately, now my office is in a shambles right now because I moved all this furniture out and I have boxes and stuff in
Right.
there. It's kind of been acting as kind of a centralized like storage
Right.
for
Bit of a
for the short
repository
term.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was in there tonight and I'm like, without all that furniture in there,
Uh-huh.
now I can start building my bookshelves.
There it is. Thought so.
And so I started um, I did some measurements of the walls because I have to measure, wall length and all that, and then determine, shelf height and everything so that I can have various shelf
Right,
heights.
right.
Because, we have some larger height books, we have some small, I want to, so I started calculating that because I'm probably going to um, there's a place down the road. It's an old family business that deals in reclamated wood.
Oh, very nice.
And so I thought I was going to go down there. I don't know what the pricing is or anything
Mm,
like that.
but that's
But
you can
if
probably
they
find some
have,
beautiful planks out there.
and that's what I want to do is I
Hmm.
want to find reclamated wood so that I can start to, because I would like to use that for the bookshelves in that room.
So it's
Um,
it's funny you bring this up for Loon
yeah.
Cafe because I was down, I'm in my home office right now downstairs, and I was down here this morning. Just I had a brief meeting, and then my older daughter came down to say hi, and we were talking about books, and like it. We mentioned I have built-ins in the office here, and then I've got a couple bookshelves you've seen in the corner.
Yep.
One of which was Amy's, my wife's from like. I don't know, that like her apartment, maybe when I moved in. And the other one is one of the two from college going back to freshman year.
Oh,
My younger daughter has
wow.
the other, my younger, and those are cheap, but they've held up. I mean, this is 30 years now, actually.
They don't
This
make
is,
they don't make press board like they used
that's
to.
literally true in this
No, I
case.
know it's
Yes.
literally I wasn't
So
that wasn't
no, not a
facetious.
joke. They literally don't. And so my younger daughter has one in her closet for shelving, and then I have that in the corner. So I am I am, believe it or not, here. No one else can see this, but I'm gonna tip the computer so that Brad can see because he hasn't seen lately. It's taken years, but I've
Wow.
almost filled. I've
Wow.
almost filled. Remember how much space there was when we moved in 20 years ago?
Yes.
I've almost filled, and so later this summer, I'm going to go to IKEA and pick up a tall Billy.
Oh.
One of the taller ones and maybe the wider ones, and so I can expand, and I'll move a couple things on the walls, and then I'll have more shelf space, kind of like your plan. But you
Yes.
have some urgency because you really need to get that stuff up so you can put all of your things out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
Hmm.
looking at amongst some other things that other house projects. There's so many house
You have
projects,
so
but
much. You have so much going on. Yeah.
I really need to get my office in order.
You
Um
You do. You've been out of an office for weeks now, more than that actually.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's yeah, for your own creative mental health. You need to get
Yeah, I
back in
need to
your
get back in
office.
there. I need to get back in there. I need to be near my I it's for those that understand. I need to be near the books again.
And it's not a man cave thing,
No, no,
but
no.
the books, the tech, the instruments, all of that stuff. You need to be back in that space.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I hear you.
S-
Speaking
So,
of which, I haven't mentioned that I am very, very, very slowly returning to piano. But that's another conversation,
oh,
which
we have to have this
I'll just
conversation.
drop here as we wrap up the
You
Loon
you just
Cafe.
dropped a bomb on me
I did.
after you
Um,
did.
I I'm it's I just got yesterday. I have a nice folio of Bach's two-part inventions, and I'm just gonna take my time as I ease back in. It's first scales, then a little Bach. I think it'll work over the next couple of years. Yeah,
Interesting.
so we'll talk offline. So there.
Oh, you literally
I
dropped a
know.
bomb on me.
Sorry, everybody, gotta go.
Yeah. I mean, for those that know, I mean, we talk about
We talk
um
about music and instruments all the time because I mean, you are a legit musician, right? Like you just
yes.
do it for yourself, but you are a legit musician. And I've been an aspiring wannabe for my own sake for a long time. And I stepped away from the piano for several years now. Uh, and uh, and I have my reasons. And now Amy and I went to the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra earlier this week for a show, and it just kind of subtly, it just motivated, it flipped a switch, just a gentle switch. And so I'm gonna work on my scales, then I'm gonna start playing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Yes.
But in the interim, thanks everybody, as always, for geeking out with us about RPGs, real life, the importance of books in your home office, and also early onset senescence. Not me. So, you know the deal. Be well, stay well. We will talk to you in a couple weeks.